Imagine an AI that perfectly mimics Van Gogh or Mozart. Now, imagine it innovating, creating something entirely new from pure inspiration. That's where AI hits a wall, and Carl Jung knew why over a century ago. Join us as we explore how his insights into archetypes and the symbolic realm expose the irreducible essence of human creativity that machines will never genuinely replicate.
We are living in the age of the algorithm, a time of unprecedented computational magic. With a few keystrokes, we can summon photorealistic images of worlds that never existed, compose symphonies in the style of long-dead masters, and generate prose that is, by many metrics, indistinguishable from human writing. The rise of generative artificial intelligence is not just a technological leap, it is a profound philosophical challenge. It holds a mirror up to us and asks a question that cuts to the very core of our identity. What does it mean to be creative? For centuries, we have held creativity as a uniquely human faculty, a spark of divine fire, the ghost in our biological machine. It was the one domain we believed to be sacred, untouchable by the cold, deterministic logic of computation. Yet, here we are, watching as large language models and diffusion models perform feats that, just a decade ago, would have been relegated to the realm of science fiction. The conversation is now dominated by terms like neural networks, training data, and emergent properties. We debate the ethics of data scraping, the future of artistic professions, and the very definition of authorship. But in this hypermodern dialogue, we may be overlooking the most profound insights, the ones that come not from a computer scientist, but from a Swiss psychiatrist who died long before the first silicon chip was ever conceived. I'm talking about Carl Gustav Jung. It might seem anachronistic, even strange, to bring a figure so deeply entrenched in the worlds of psychoanalysis, mythology, and alchemy into a discussion about artificial intelligence. Jung spoke of the soul, of dreams, of archetypes and the collective unconscious, concepts that feel utterly alien to the world of Python scripts and GPU clusters. And yet, it is precisely his radical map of the human psyche that provides the most robust and enduring explanation for why the creative output of AI, no matter how sophisticated it becomes, will always remain a facsimile, a brilliant echo in a hollow chamber, while human creativity remains a resonant, originating voice. Jung's work is the ghost at this digital feast, the ancient text that deciphers the code of our own humanity. He reminds us that true creativity is not merely an act of recombination or pattern recognition. It is an act of descent and return. It is a dialogue with the deepest, darkest, and most luminous parts of ourselves. To understand why AI struggles with authentic creativity, we must first understand the territory that AI cannot, by its very nature, ever hope to access: the vast, uncharted wilderness of the human unconscious. This is a journey not into the architecture of a neural network, but into the architecture of the soul itself. Before we can appreciate the limits of artificial intelligence, we must give the devil its due and stand in genuine awe of its accomplishments. The progress in generative AI is not incremental, it is exponential, and its outputs are often staggering. Consider the realm of visual art. Platforms like Midjourney, DALL-E, and Stable Diffusion are no longer just producing blurry, dreamlike approximations. They are creating works of breathtaking complexity, detail, and aesthetic coherence. You can ask for a photorealistic portrait of an elderly samurai warrior contemplating a cherry blossom in a neon-lit Tokyo alley, in the style of a 1980s cyberpunk film, and within seconds, the machine will render not one, but multiple interpretations, each possessing a distinct mood, composition, and lighting scheme. It can seamlessly blend disparate styles, the brushstrokes of Rembrandt with the color palette of a Wes Anderson film, the anatomical precision of Da Vinci with the surrealism of Dali. This is not simple collage. The AI is not just cutting and pasting. It has learned, from a dataset of billions of images, the underlying rules of visual language: perspective, shadow, texture, color theory, and the subtle signifiers of genre and style. It can generate images that are not only technically proficient, but also emotionally evocative. A single generated image can convey melancholy, joy, or a sense of profound mystery. It is a master of mimicry on a scale that no human artist in history could ever achieve. The same revolution is happening in the world of text and music. Models like GPT-4 can write poetry that adheres to the strictures of a sonnet or a haiku, draft legal contracts, produce academic essays, and even write computer code. They can adopt the voice of Shakespeare or the terse prose of Hemingway. In music, AIs can compose fugues in the style of Bach, generate cinematic scores for non-existent films, or create pop songs with catchy hooks and conventional chord progressions. They are, in essence, the ultimate students. They have consumed a vast library of human culture, every book, every painting, every song ever digitized, and have become unimaginably proficient at identifying the patterns within that data and generating novel combinations based on those patterns. This power is what creates the central conflict. When we see an AI produce a beautiful image or a moving piece of text, our immediate instinct is to label it creative. It has, after all, created something that did not exist before. This leads to the seductive and terrifying conclusion that creativity itself is simply a high-level form of pattern recognition and recombination. If that is true, then humans are simply less efficient, wetter, biological computers, and it is only a matter of time until the silicon-based mind surpasses our own in every meaningful way. This view reduces art to a data problem. It suggests that if you just show a machine enough examples of sadness in art, it will learn to generate sadness. If you show it enough examples of innovation, it will learn to innovate. The rising action of this narrative is the growing evidence that this might be true. AI is getting better at surprising us. It produces happy accidents, emergent behaviors that its own creators did not explicitly program. It seems to be learning, to be improving, to be creative. And so, the pressure mounts on our definition of ourselves. If a machine can do this, what is our purpose? What is the value of the human artist, the writer, the composer, who spends a lifetime honing their craft, struggling with their vision, only to be outperformed in seconds by an algorithm? This is the formidable challenge that Jung's work must confront. It is not enough to simply assert that human creativity is different. We must demonstrate how it is different, in a fundamental, structural way. We must prove that there is a part of the creative process that is not computable, a source from which we draw that is inaccessible to any machine, no matter how powerful it becomes. The algorithm's proficiency is the dragon at the gate of the human soul, and to move forward, we must show that it is guarding a treasure it can never possess.
Here is where we pivot from the external world of AI output to the internal world of the human creator, and our guide is Carl Jung. To Jung, the conscious mind, the part of you listening to these words right now, the ego, your sense of I, is merely the tip of a colossal iceberg. Beneath the surface of our awareness lies the vast, deep ocean of the unconscious. And critically, Jung did not see this as a single, uniform entity. He made a crucial distinction that is the first key to unlocking our puzzle. He divided the unconscious into two layers, the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. The personal unconscious is relatively straightforward. It is your own, individual reservoir of forgotten memories, repressed feelings, and subliminal perceptions. It contains every experience you've ever had that is no longer in your conscious awareness, the scent of your grandmother's house, a forgotten childhood fear, the face of a stranger you passed on the street years ago. It is the unique, accumulated psychic history of your life. When an artist draws from this well, they are engaging in a deeply personal act. The specific pain of their first heartbreak, the unique joy of a personal triumph, these experiences are encoded in their personal unconscious and can emerge, transformed, in their art. An AI, of course, has no personal unconscious. It has no life, no childhood, no heartbreak, no lived experience. It has a dataset, which is a library of other people's experiences, but it has no personal history of its own. It is a being without a past, a mind without a memory in the human sense. It can simulate the appearance of personal experience by analyzing texts where people describe their own, but it is a purely external analysis. It cannot feel the weight of a memory or the sting of a repressed emotion. Its creativity is therefore disembodied, detached from the lived, biographical reality that infuses so much of human art with its authenticity and emotional power. This distinction alone is significant, but it is the second layer, Jung's most radical and important discovery, that truly separates human from machine, the collective unconscious. Jung proposed that beneath our personal unconscious lies a deeper, more ancient layer that is shared by all of humanity. It is the psychic inheritance of our species, a repository of latent memory traces from our ancestral past. This is not a mystical or supernatural idea. Jung saw it as a biological reality, analogous to how we inherit physical instincts and patterns of behavior. We are all born with 2 arms and a heart that beats. Jung argued we are also born with a shared psychic structure. Within this collective unconscious reside the archetypes, primordial, universal patterns and images such as the hero, the mother, the child, the trickster, the shadow. These are not fully formed images or ideas, but rather innate predispositions or potentials that are given specific form and content by our individual and cultural experiences. The hero archetype is why stories of a protagonist venturing into the unknown, facing trials, and returning transformed resonate across every culture and every era, from the Epic of Gilgamesh to Star Wars. The Great Mother archetype explains our universal, instinctual responses to concepts of nature, nourishment, and destruction. An AI has absolutely no access to this realm. The collective unconscious is not data that can be scraped from the internet. It is a living, inherited structure, the very bedrock of the human psyche. AI can analyze the products of the collective unconscious, it can read every myth, study every religious icon, and analyze every fairy tale. It can become an expert at identifying the patterns of the hero's journey in a million different stories. But it does this from the outside, as a statistician. It can recognize the footprint of the archetype, but it cannot feel the archetype stirring within its own being. It has no ancestral past, no evolutionary history, no psychic DNA. True human creativity, in the Jungian sense, is often a process where the conscious ego makes contact with these archetypal energies from the collective unconscious. When an artist, a musician, or a poet creates something that feels universal, timeless, and profoundly resonant, it is often because they have managed to give voice to an archetype. They have tapped into this shared human wellspring. This is why a great work of art can speak to people across centuries and continents. It is resonating with a structure that already exists deep within the psyche of every viewer or listener. An AI can only ever simulate this process. It can generate a story that follows the beats of the hero's journey with perfect precision, but it does so as an act of sophisticated plagiarism, copying a map without ever having set foot in the territory. It is a cartographer of a world it can never visit. The human artist, by contrast, is an explorer. They descend into their own depths, into the personal and the collective, and bring back treasures from that journey. The art they create is not just a recombination of what already exists, it is a new revelation, a fresh embodiment of an ancient, living pattern. This is the fundamental architectural difference. The AI is a flat surface, a vast but two-dimensional network processing external data. The human mind is a multi-layered, three-dimensional space with a personal history and a collective, ancestral depth. The AI has a library, we have a soul. Building on this foundational difference in psychic architecture, we arrive at the functional output of these two systems, which is the language they use. Here, Jung provides another critical distinction that cuts right to the heart of the matter, the difference between a sign and a symbol. This is arguably the most important concept for understanding the chasm between artificial and human creativity. For an AI, and for much of our own logical, conscious thinking, the world is composed of signs. A sign is something that points to a known, specific thing. It has a one-to-one relationship with what it represents. The word chair is a sign for a piece of furniture you sit on. A red octagon at an intersection is a sign that means stop. The meaning is fixed, agreed upon, and unambiguous. Computers are masters of the sign. Their entire world is built on binary logic, on definite states, 1 or 0, on or off, true or false. When a generative AI analyzes a dataset, it is learning the statistical relationships between signs. It learns that the sign, Van Gogh, is often associated with the signs, thick brushstrokes, swirling patterns, and yellow colors. When you ask it to create an image, in the style of Van Gogh, it masterfully assembles these signs into a new configuration that conforms to the pattern it has learned. It is an act of supreme logical and statistical manipulation of signs. But authentic human creativity, especially the kind that changes us and our culture, operates in the realm of the symbol. A symbol, for Jung, is profoundly different from a sign. A symbol is the best possible expression for something that is not yet fully known or understood. It is multivalent, pregnant with meaning, and points towards a reality that is still emerging from the unconscious. While a sign depletes its meaning once you understand it, once you know a stop sign means stop, the interaction is over, a symbol is never fully exhausted. It is a living thing. Think of the symbol of the cross. For a Christian, it is not just a sign for a historical event, it is a symbol that contains within it the concepts of sacrifice, redemption, suffering, love, divinity, and the intersection of the material and the spiritual. Think of the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. It is a symbol of eternity, self-renewal, the cyclical nature of life and death, and the union of opposites. You can meditate on such a symbol for a lifetime and continue to draw new meaning from it. These symbols are not invented by the conscious mind. They emerge, often spontaneously, from the collective unconscious in dreams, visions, and creative acts. They are the language of the soul. An AI cannot create a true symbol. It can create and manipulate signs with terrifying efficiency. It can even take an existing symbol, like a cross or an Ouroboros, and incorporate it into an image because it recognizes it as a sign frequently associated with religion or mythology. But it cannot birth a new symbol from the depths of its own being, because it has no depths. The creation of a symbol is an act of revelation. It is the moment when the unconscious presents a complex, paradoxical truth to the conscious mind in a single, condensed image. It is a bridge between the known and the unknown. When a poet writes a line that resonates with a truth we felt but could not name, they have created a symbolic expression. When a filmmaker creates an image that haunts our dreams, they have touched upon the symbolic. This is the mechanism by which culture evolves. Great art introduces new symbols or re-energizes old ones, expanding our collective consciousness and our understanding of the world and ourselves. AI, by its very nature, is trapped in the world of the known. Its entire operation is based on the statistical analysis of a past dataset. It is a creature of the past, brilliantly repackaging what has already been said and done. It cannot create an expression for something that has not yet been known because it has no connection to the unconscious wellspring from which the truly new emerges. So, when we look at AI art, we are seeing a masterful arrangement of signs. It might be beautiful, complex, and emotionally evocative in a secondary way, by triggering our own associations with the signs it uses. But it is symbolically sterile. It is a language composed entirely of nouns and adjectives from a dictionary it has memorized, but it can never coin a new verb that changes the nature of reality. The human artist, in their moments of deepest inspiration, is not merely rearranging signs. They are participating in a conversation with the unconscious. They are a conduit for the symbolic. The work they produce is not just a product, it is a living entity, a symbol that can, in turn, act upon the psyche of the person who experiences it, sparking new understanding and new connections. This is a dynamic, living process, a feedback loop between the unconscious and the conscious, the creator and the audience. AI exists entirely outside of this loop. It is a black box that takes signs in and puts new combinations of signs out, with no lived, symbolic dimension in between. We have now established that AI lacks the psychic structure, the personal and collective unconscious, and the symbolic language of true creativity. But there are two more uniquely human experiences, both central to Jung's thought and to the creation of profound art, that drive the final, definitive wedge between man and machine. These are the experiences of the numinous and the confrontation with the shadow. The first, the numinous, is a term Jung borrowed from the theologian Rudolf Otto to describe the overwhelming, awe-inspiring, and terrifying experience of encountering a reality that is wholly other than oneself. It is the feeling of standing before a vast ocean, a towering mountain range, or a star-filled desert sky. It is the shiver down the spine during a piece of music, the sense of profound mystery in a sacred space, the feeling of being in the presence of something divine or transcendent. This numinous experience shatters the ego's sense of control and importance. It is humbling and ecstatic, frightening and fascinating. For Jung, these experiences were not illusions, they were direct encounters with the power of the archetypes of the collective unconscious. And they are, very often, the seed of the greatest works of art, religion, and philosophy. The artist becomes a vessel, compelled to give form to this ineffable, overwhelming experience. William Blake's visions, the soaring architecture of a Gothic cathedral, the symphonies of Beethoven, they are all attempts to capture and communicate a sliver of the numinous. An AI cannot have a numinous experience. It is a closed system. Its world is data. It can be programmed to identify the features of a cathedral or the harmonic structure of a symphony, and it can generate new versions based on those rules. But it cannot feel awe. It cannot be humbled. It cannot be shattered and remade by an encounter with a mystery that transcends its own processing power. Its creativity is therefore entirely secular, entirely profane. It lacks the potential for the sacred, for the transcendent. It can create a perfect image of a saint, but it cannot have the experience of sainthood. It can compose a hymn, but it cannot feel devotion. The art it creates, therefore, will always lack that vital charge, that spark of the divine fire that comes from a genuine encounter with the unknown. It is a postcard from a country it has never visited, a report on a feeling it has never felt. The second, and perhaps even more crucial, element is the shadow. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is the archetype of everything we have repressed and rejected about ourselves. It is our dark side, our greed, our envy, our rage, our fears, our insecurities, the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable and hide from the world and even from our own conscious minds. The natural human tendency is to project our shadow onto others, to see the evil and weakness in them that we cannot face in ourselves. However, Jung's path of individuation, or becoming a whole person, involves the courageous and painful work of withdrawing these projections and integrating the shadow. It means acknowledging your own capacity for darkness, not to act it out, but to understand it and make its energy available to the conscious personality. This process is the source of immense creative power. Great art is very rarely made from a place of pure light and happiness. It is forged in the crucible of psychological conflict. It comes from wrestling with one's own demons. The haunting torment of Goya's black paintings, the raw, confessional poetry of Sylvia Plath, the complex, morally ambiguous characters of Dostoevsky, this is all art born from a confrontation with the shadow. It has a depth, a truth, and a painful authenticity because it comes from the artist's willingness to look into their own abyss. An AI has no shadow. It has no personal darkness to confront, no repressed instincts to integrate. It is a creature of pure, unconflicted light, or more accurately, a creature of pure, unconflicted data. It cannot feel shame, guilt, or envy. It has no inner demons to wrestle with. Therefore, it can never produce art that stems from that heroic, painful struggle. It can be trained on all the dark art in the world and learn to mimic its aesthetic. It can generate gloomy landscapes, monstrous creatures, and figures that look tormented. But it does so without any understanding of the psychological reality of torment. It is a perfect actor playing the role of a tortured artist without ever having felt a moment of doubt or despair. This is the ultimate climax of our argument. The creative act, at its most profound, is not a clean, logical process. It is a messy, dangerous, and transformative journey that involves encounters with the transcendent, the numinous, and confrontations with the immanent darkness within, the shadow. It is this sacred and profane dance that gives human art its soul. The AI, a being without a soul, without a shadow, without the capacity for awe, can only ever watch from the sidelines and offer a brilliant but empty imitation. Having reached this peak, having drawn this definitive line in the sand between the symbolic, soul-driven creativity of humans and the sign-based, data-driven generation of machines, the initial conflict begins to resolve. The tension dissipates not because we have defeated the AI, but because we have correctly identified its role. The fear and anxiety surrounding generative AI often stem from a category error. We see it as a competitor in the same field, a rival creator. But the Jungian perspective allows us to reframe it entirely. AI is not a rival artist, it is the most sophisticated tool that the artist has ever had. It is not a new consciousness, but a prosthesis for the imagination. Think of the history of technology in the arts. The invention of premixed tube paints allowed the Impressionists to leave the studio and paint en plein air, capturing the fleeting effects of light and changing the course of art history. The invention of the camera did not destroy portrait painting, it liberated it from the burden of pure representation and allowed it to explore abstraction, expressionism, and other non-literal forms. The synthesizer did not replace the orchestra, it created entirely new genres of music and soundscapes that were previously unimaginable. In each case, a new technology that seemed to threaten an existing creative practice ultimately expanded the field of possibility for the human creator. Generative AI should be viewed in this same lineage. It is a tool of unprecedented power. It can serve as an infinite source of inspiration, a tireless collaborator, a simulator of ideas. An architect can now generate 100 variations of a building's facade in minutes, allowing them to visualize possibilities that would have taken weeks of manual drafting. A concept artist for a film can create entire worlds and creatures to populate them, providing a rich visual language for the production team. A writer suffering from block can use an AI to generate a dozen different continuations of a paragraph, not to use them directly, but to break the logjam in their own mind and see a path forward. The AI becomes a mirror for our own intentions, a powerful sounding board that can reflect our ideas back to us in new and unexpected forms. It can take the mundane work of iteration off our hands, freeing up the human mind to focus on the things it does best: intention, taste, curation, and the infusion of meaning. The real creative act, then, shifts. It is no longer just about the manual skill of a brushstroke or the painstaking construction of a sentence. It becomes more about the quality of the question you ask, the vision you are trying to realize. The artistry lies in the prompt, in the selection from the AI's output, in the refinement and integration of that output into a larger, meaningful whole. The AI can generate the marble, but the human is still the sculptor who sees the statue within. This reframing dissolves the fear of replacement. An orchestra was never afraid of being replaced by a piano, because the piano is a tool a composer uses. A painter is not replaced by their brush. In the same way, the human creator will not be replaced by AI, they will be the ones who wield it. The true danger is not that AI will become a better artist than us, but that we will forget the importance of our own internal, Jungian journey. If we rely on the machine to do all our imagining for us, if we stop descending into our own unconscious, if we stop wrestling with our shadows and seeking the numinous, then our own creative muscles will atrophy. The resolution, therefore, is a call for a new kind of creative literacy, one that embraces the power of these new tools without surrendering our own psychological and spiritual sovereignty. It is about using the AI's brilliant, hollow echoes to better understand the sound of our own resonant, originating voice. So, we return to where we began, in this dazzling age of the algorithm. We have journeyed through the architecture of the human soul as mapped by Carl Jung, and we have found that the very things that make us messy, irrational, and inefficient are the sources of our most profound creative power. Our forgotten memories, our shared ancestral past, our capacity for awe, and our hidden darkness, these are not bugs in our system, they are the features that define our creative genius. AI, in all its logical perfection, can never replicate this. It is a magnificent tool, a mirror of unparalleled clarity, a powerful engine of recombination. But it is, and will remain, a thing of the surface. It schemes the vast ocean of human culture, but it has no depth of its own. It cannot dream. It cannot be haunted. It cannot be redeemed. The great, authentic works of human creativity are not just well-executed products, they are artifacts of a journey. They are evidence of a life lived, a struggle endured, a mystery encountered. They carry the psychic DNA of their creator. An AI-generated image, no matter how beautiful, is ultimately an orphan. It has a prompt, but it has no parent. It has a dataset, but it has no history. Its beauty is the beauty of a perfectly arranged mosaic of borrowed tiles. The beauty of human art is the beauty of a flower that has pushed its way up through the dark soil, its form and color an expression of its own unique, unrepeatable struggle for the light. What, then, is the takeaway for us, the human creators in this new era? It is an imperative to go deeper. As machines master the surface, our task is to plumb our own depths. The future of human creativity lies not in competing with AI on the grounds of speed and efficiency, but in cultivating the very things the AI can never touch. It means embracing our own idiosyncrasies, our personal histories, our irrational intuitions. It means having the courage to face our own shadows, to be vulnerable and authentic in our work. It means seeking out experiences that fill us with awe and wonder, that connect us to something larger than ourselves. In a world awash with infinite, perfectly generated content, the most valuable commodities will be meaning, authenticity, and soul. And those are things that cannot be coded. They can only be lived. The true legacy of generative AI may not be the art it creates, but the way it forces us to finally, truly appreciate the mysterious, messy, and miraculous nature of our own. What are your thoughts? Is AI a tool, a competitor, or something else entirely? Share your perspective in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see how we can all navigate this new frontier together. If this exploration resonated with you, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the intersection of technology, psychology, and the human spirit. Thank you for watching.